Welcome to The Explainer, where we transform complex concepts into structured insights. Today, we're unpacking James Clear's absolute game changer of a framework on why we fail at habits, and more importantly, how to finally fix them. If you've ever felt that awful sting of giving up on a resolution just a few weeks in, well, you are definitely in the right place. We're going to dive right into the actual science of sticking to it.
Okay, here's our roadmap for today. We'll be looking at the frustration of change, the reality of progress, goals versus systems, changing your identity, and then we'll wrap up with the 4 laws of change.
Section 1. The frustration of change and why we fail.
So, we all know that visceral feeling, right? You set a brand new goal, you show up and crush it for a few days, and then you see absolutely zero tangible results. Picture this for a second. You're blowing out the candles on your 30th birthday. People are smiling, they're clapping, but then something kind of heavy hits you. You remember the version of yourself you pictured a decade ago. You thought you'd be healthier, maybe speaking 2 languages, definitely more disciplined. And today, you aren't exactly unhappy, but you just aren't where you thought you'd be. You've tried to change over and over, but you keep quitting. Which leads us to this incredibly frustrating question. Why do you keep slipping back?
Well, the answer lies in a fundamental mismatch. See, you naturally expect effort and results to rise together at the exact same time, but they just don't. Think about bad habits. The reward is immediate and the cost comes way later. But with good habits, it's totally flipped. The cost comes right now, and the reward, that comes later. You keep slipping back because your present self literally wants comfort right now. Making the choice to order fast food is just so much easier than enduring the immediate, tiring cost of cooking a healthy meal for some delayed, abstract future reward.
Section 2. The reality of progress and the plateau.
We so often blame a lack of willpower when we fail, but in reality, we've just hit a highly predictable psychological wall. Let's say you hit the gym for weeks, you eat better, you're sleeping more, and yet the scale absolutely refuses to move. Your clothes fit exactly the same. You have dropped right into what is known as the valley of disappointment. This is an emotional gap. Behind the scenes, your nervous system is adapting, your muscles are literally learning new movements, but the progress remains entirely invisible to you. And this is precisely where most people throw in the towel, right before the results actually show up.
Think about it like a block of ice. Imagine you're sitting in a freezing room, let's say minus 15 degrees, and there's an ice cube in front of you. You slowly raise the temperature, minus 10, minus 5, minus 1. Absolutely nothing happens. The ice cube looks exactly the same as it did on day 1. But then, the room hits 0 degrees, and suddenly, the ice melts. That final degree didn't cause the change all on its own, did it? No. It simply revealed all the hidden heat that had been accumulating the whole time. Your work is never wasted. It's simply being stored until you finally cross that critical threshold.
So the absolutely crucial point here is that you just have to survive that plateau. Getting slightly better each day honestly doesn't feel very impressive in the moment. But if you improve by a mere 1% daily and let compounding time mathematically do its thing, you end up nearly 37 times better over the course of a single year. That is huge. Time magnifies the margin between success and failure.
Section 3. Goals versus systems and why direction matters over outcome.
Okay, so this builds a really strong case for completely abandoning our traditional and frankly pretty fragile reliance on setting goals. We almost always measure our progress by outcomes, but goals only describe a destination. Think about it. If you aim north, but your actual daily habits are walking you south, well, your real direction is south, and direction always wins. Goals are fragile. They only end in success or failure, and once you achieve them, the motivation to keep going usually just vanishes. Systems, on the other hand, are the actual daily sustainable repetitions that guarantee your trajectory. The saying goes, you do not rise to the level of your goals, you fall to the level of your systems. True behavior change actually happens in 3 structural layers. Most people, unfortunately, stop at the first 2 surface layers. They set goals for the outcomes they want, and maybe, if they're diligent, they create a system for the process. But if you truly want lasting, permanent change, you have to reach that deepest 3rd step. You actually have to change who you believe you are. Section 4. Changing your identity, because identity always comes first. To really stick to a system long-term, we have to fundamentally reevaluate who we believe we are at our core. Notice the stark difference here. Saying, I want to read a book is entirely outcome-focused. It relies 100% on willpower. But saying, I am a reader, that is an identity.
When you actively build an identity, the behavior stops being about drumming up optional motivation, and it starts becoming an automatic reflection of your self-image. You don't have to force yourself, you just act in line with who you fundamentally believe you are. Readers read, runners run. I just love how this specific quote captures the concept so perfectly. New identities require new evidence. Every single time you make your bed in the morning, you are casting a vote that you are an organized person. Every time you sit down to write, you're proving to yourself that you're a writer. Change the actions you repeat, and over time, you build undeniable physical proof of a brand new identity. Section 5. The 4 Laws of Change. Let's reprogram your brain. So, how exactly do we systematically reprogram our brain's autopilot to start casting votes for this new identity? Well, we use the 4 laws of change. Make it obvious, make it attractive, make it easy, and make it satisfying. These are the 4 crucial levers you can pull to physically alter your neural pathways, because every single habit operates on a loop: a cue, a craving, a response, and a reward. Mastering these 4 laws is the absolute secret to making that loop work for you, so your habits finally permanently stick. Let's start with Law 1, make it obvious. We always tend to think we lack motivation, but usually we just lack clarity. Environment is the invisible hand that shapes human behavior. If you want to read more, don't rely on raw discipline to remember. Just put the book squarely on your pillow. If you want to take your vitamins, put the bottle right next to your toothbrush. Make the right action the absolute default setting of your life. And a highly effective way to make cues super obvious is a technique called habit stacking. This is where you use an existing, completely effortless routine as a built-in trigger for a new one. Because pouring your morning coffee is already a deeply automatic habit, tethering a 5-minute stretch directly to it requires absolutely zero fresh motivation. Your old habit literally becomes the inescapable cue for your new one. Moving right along to Law 2, make it attractive. This is fascinating. Your brain doesn't actually act for the effort, it acts for the expectation. Dopamine spikes before you act. Your brain anticipates a reward before the action even happens, which is precisely why grabbing your phone when a notification chimes feels so incredibly magnetic. You literally need to manufacture that same anticipation for your good habits. And you can totally hack this dopamine spike using something called temptation bundling. It's simple. Just pair something you absolutely love doing with something you know you need to do. For instance, only let yourself listen to your favorite podcast while you're out running, or only watch your favorite YouTube channel while you're stretching or doing chores. You are artificially manufacturing immediate anticipation for a habit that would normally just feel like work. Law 3 is make it easy. Look, human nature effortlessly follows the law of least effort. We are wired to be lazy. So the key here is to reduce friction so much that saying no is genuinely ridiculous. Use the 2-minute rule. Scale your shiny new habit down to just 2 minutes. Read literally 1 page. Do a single push-up. I know it sounds silly, but a habit must be established before it can be improved. You are mastering the art of just showing up. Finally, we have Law 4, make it satisfying. The golden rule of behavior is that what is immediately rewarded is repeated. Because the real life-changing benefits of good habits are so delayed, you need to manufacture an immediate visible win right now. Transfer $5 to a vacation savings account the exact moment you finish cooking at home instead of eating out. Oh, and remember this crucial rule. Missing once is an accident, but missing twice is the start of a new bad habit. Never, ever break the chain twice. So you might be wondering, how do we break our bad habits? Well, we definitely don't use willpower. We simply invert the entire framework we just learned. Make the cue invisible by tossing the phone in another room. Make it physically difficult by unplugging the TV after every single use. Bad habits don't magically disappear because you resist them. They disappear because you redesign your system to make them incredibly inconvenient and thoroughly unsatisfying. As we wrap up this explainer, I really want you to take a hard look at your daily routines, your systems, and ask yourself this final powerful question. What type of person are your habits voting for today? Because remember, it is your direction, not your intention, that ultimately determines your destination. Time will multiply whatever you feed it. Make absolutely sure you are feeding it the right votes. Thanks so much for joining me on this deep dive, and I'll catch you on the next explainer.